F1 Grand Prix is a very rare Formula 1 style racing game that released for the Sega Mega Drive that features high speed, action and races. It gives you access to a load of different modes, settings, with different teams, drivers and all of the characteristics to allow you to relive the elements of Formula 1 in your own home. But unlike other racers that were released on the system that had more simulation focused elements, if you compare it to other games like Super Monaco Grand Prix, which was a completely different style of game, playing more so from a cockpit or first person or third person perspective, F1 Grand Prix captures its gameplay role from a top down perspective, very like other arcade racers seen at the time. Micro Machines comes to mind when you think of this type of style, but at the same time it's not like Micro Machines really at all, as it is a lot more of a serious focused racer. It's still fun, it's very fast. When you're racing on the tracks, corners can come at you at such a blistering pace that if you're not ready to slow down or be able to have your wits about you, or you have quick reflexes, you will end up off the road or into the barrier. But luckily enough that you do have a map of the track that appears on the screen itself with a pointer letting you know of exactly where you are, so you can kind of have an idea of where corners and hazards are coming up so you can avoid them altogether. There was quite a few Formula 1 games developed in this type of style with a top down perspective that did release on the Mega Drive over its lifespan, with another one from the same developer with F1 Super license that played from a very similar point of view. But you do have access to all of the typical race modes, single player races, championship modes, time trials. You can do practices, do qualifying sessions to find out where you'll end up on the grid, and then you'll compete then in the races for points, where each race will take reference of your overall lap records as well, to let you know if you're going to break any particular records, or even to see where you are on the track pretty much. Now it's not to say that it's easy, this game is very tough. Because it's so fast, everything happens in an instant and you just have to have your wits about you. But you also have to bear in mind of your opponents that are also on the track as well, as they can be quite aggressive, and if you collide with them on track, there's a very good chance that you'll go spinning off into a barrier somewhere. Now the controls are good and they're responsive, but will take some time to master. These type of games generally always are tricky to get to grips with, because even with the camera view planted on the top of the car, it's so small in scale that you don't really get to see much of the screen of what's going on around you. That's where the map usually comes in, but sometimes even at that, it can be tricky to understand because everything's happening so fast that by the time you usually look up to see where you are on the map, you'll end up in the barrier anyway. But it has some really nice graphics, very colourful, bright, vibrant, some great use of features even in the background, has some really good sounds. The sense of speed is crazy, like it has all of the really cool elements that you want from these type of games. Fast paced, very competitive, very challenging, and if you want an authentic experience, well, this is one of the best that you possibly could get, but from a different point of view, that is. In a lot of ways you could consider it as a hidden gem, but it didn't receive the same level of attention because with it only being in Japan, not everybody would have had the opportunity to play it back in the day, yet alone know that the game even existed. But thank God today, in modern times, with emulation and with the internet, we can now find out about a lot of these games and even try them for ourselves. It may have been overshadowed by other racing games that did release on the platform, bear in mind, but it did have a unique combination of great tracks, gameplay and just a fun challenge in short bursts, and will definitely appeal to racing game enthusiasts that are collecting games for their Mega Drive console, and this is just another one to add to that list. So I would recommend you give it a try, and even some of the other games that were also created by the same company. And if you would like to know or learn about other games similar to this that also released on the Mega Drive, you can check out this next video.